Hello, friends. Thanks so much for joining. I really appreciate you tuning in today and joining us for this interview. The gentleman who's my guest today is somebody who I've been following for many, many years, and it's really such an honor to have him as a guest in my program. Many of you know, even though I'm in the fitness training and neuro rehabilitation business as my profession, I was also a drummer for 35 years for a living prior to this. So I have many, many influences, and not only just musically or as drummers influencing me, but psychologically, mentally, emotionally, things that motivate me. And the person today who I'm interviewing is a clinician. He is an author. In fact, you have a few books out. Educator, drummer, motivational speaker, and in my opinion, and in my eyes, I'm one of a kind in the industry. I'd like to welcome Tommy Igoe. Thank you, Tommy, for joining me. You can hear the crowd; they're going crazy.
Crowd is going literally crazy.
All right, I love it, man.
I mean, you can hear it. It's going crazy.
We got to do the knuckle thing now. Okay, there it is. Boom.
Boom.
All right. I lost focus, but okay. So, Tommy, man, thank you. I have a question. Let's start off with this. Your postings. By the way, I sent you a friend request on Facebook today. But anyways, I've been following you also on Instagram. You have some of the best posts. There's one that you put up recently. I love it. And it's a little different than some of the other ones, but it's also just so relevant. Why should I read music? I'm a drummer. Dennis Chambers doesn't read music. Your response is, you ain't Dennis Chambers, and you need all the help you can get. Tommy, that's like genius, man. Now, I'm just saying that, but
well, you know,
the stuff that you come out with is so. I've watched so many videos with you engaging people and making a musical statement with like 5 different groups of people in a 200 people group. Yet you bring 5 groups together out of 200, and one statement comes out of 200 people. I love this. So, where are you coming from with all this? I just love the absolute, let's say, authenticity and sympathetic listening. Talk to me.
Well, you know, it's funny. That quote, the one that you're talking about, is probably something I stole from somebody. I mean, nothing's new. You're always stealing everything. I mean, there's a million people on social media trying to reinvent the wheel, and it's I just think like social media for me is a laugh riot, because there are so many people just scrambling around like hamsters, you know, trying to reinvent the wheel, and all they do is make themselves look silly. They're all trying to grab likes and stuff and get follows, and I don't give a damn about any of that crap. And which is one of the reasons I think what I say in a world of a lot of noise and static kind of cuts through. I literally do not care. And that's the kind of awesome authenticity. It isn't that I don't care about people or what I'm talking about. I do. I care passionately about that. I just don't care if I'm being validated by the noise. I don't care if I'm being I am not looking to be validated on social media. And I think if anybody is, good luck. Good luck with that. That's not going to work right now.
Sorry,
I really don't think it's going to work.
No, it's true. That's true. Yeah.
I have experience that I've learned and earned through decades in an industry where there's a lot of different personalities. So I'm the kind of guy, and I've always been this way. I'm the kind of guy who keeps his mouth closed and his ears open. My antenna is always up, and then I'll have something to say after I've learned something, or I've accumulated enough data to actually contribute something worthwhile. Other until then, though, I have no problem just like shutting up and listening and watching and learning. And and social media is the exact opposite of all that. Everybody's just like vomit,
look at me,
vomit. You know,
and look at me. I want to be looked at.
Yeah, and I just like that Dennis Chambers quote was probably something started with Buddy Rich. To be honest with you, But I
Yeah.
think if I probably heard that quote before, I'm sure I heard my father probably saying it about Buddy, because Buddy didn't read. And people
Right.
come in and be like, well, Buddy doesn't read. Why do I have to read? And my dad would be like, man, you ain't nobody rich, and you need all the help you can get. And
Oh man, I love
you know,
that.
and it's that's the kind of guy he was, and it rubbed off on me because he walked the walk. He knew that he wasn't Buddy Rich. He knew that he needed to read.
Yeah.
He walked the walk. He was a professional. Buddy was a one of a kind genius freakazoid, and people look at like that as an outlier. People look at it as an outlier and they go, "Oh, I'm going to be. There's my model." That's not your model.
Yeah, right.
That's not your model.
Good luck.
That could be that's your inspiration. That's your motivation. That's not your model.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and good luck with being that. Yeah. Nobody ain't going to be Buddy Rich or Dennis, right?
No, it's like, come on. It's just like, and what you can do, and Dennis Chambers, to his credit, Dennis I've known for a very long time. And he's always saying, like, don't be me. He has what I have, which is a curse and a blessing. He has what we call a photographic ear. I can hear I can hear anything the first time and play it the second time and have it completely memorized. And also, I can remember charts from high school, like like note for note. It's the weirdest. I would not call it a gift. I'd call it a kind of a curse, or a filing cabinet that has no bottom. It just keeps going and going and going. But I can remember charts from high school note for note. It's the weirdest thing,
Oh man,
I can't remember, but on the others, but I can't remember title names. I can't remember the name of anything. But I remember the song. I can sing it, I can play it, but I can't remember the name of it.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's
actually
weird.
So I'll just say.
So anyway, the moral of the story is everybody's brain works differently.
True.
That's the moral of the story.
Oh, so true. That's like my mojo, man. Is the brain stuff. It just turns me on. I don't know if you know Mike Pope, a bass player.
Sure.
I just saw him. Actually, I saw him with Gambali and Dennis Chambers about a month ago here locally. And
Mike's great, man.
Mike and I were talking because we've been communicating a bunch about brain stuff and neural retraining the brain stuff, and very interesting stuff. And then he talks about Dennis too. And not to take away from you, I'm talking about you, Tommy. This is your interview.
But it's like, I prefer conversations where we're talking about other examples that we dissect. It's actually, I have no problem with that at all.
Okay, but it does tie back into you though, because it's like, we each have our individual characteristic, and what you just said, it nails it on the head exactly. All of our brains work differently.
Yeah, they all.
You have photographic ear. Dennis got
universal constants. We can have universal constants, but we have to tailor them. They have to be individuals, and everybody has to be self-aware. That's the biggest thing. If you're going to be, I'm always down. My whole thing in education is distilling complex ideas down to a summary statement, and literally bringing it down to a one-sentence summary statement. If you went to school and you were going to study classical music, you could take a piece of Tchaikovsky, whatever, and like something incredibly complicated, you could distill that whole thing down to one phrase. And the same thing with anything that's complex is all the blah, 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 blah. Bring it down to a summary statement. And that's my whole thing with education. And if you're going to really bring it down to summary statements, that we all have to be self-aware about how our brains work.
Yep.
Because we have to self-correct. We have to self-educate. And we really do need to tailor how the world is coming at us for us to distill the information we need.
I think that's so important. And I appreciate what you just said, because I've actually never heard it, let's say, expressed that way, as self-aware of how our brains work.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about my Parkinson's people I work with, and the people with MS, and how do our brains work?
Yeah.
And I thought I touched on it all, and now I just learned something new, which is why I'm a geek.
I'm certainly not qualified. I'm sure I'm not qualified to talk about any of your expertise with those particular, conditions. But just from working with thousands of students, and I have had students with different forms of either brain injury conditions. I've had people with traumatic brain injuries who are coming in and actually use drumming. They use drumming as a therapy to
Yeah.
get their motor skills back up. It's
Yeah.
amazing watching the inner stuff start to turn on again. Like it could be dormant and not working, and then the drumming, and then all of a sudden you see the connections start to form, and then the coordination starts to happen. It could be microscopically small sometimes, but it is there. It is 100% there. Improvement, all the different things that go into moving, just getting, and also conceptualizing rhythm. Conceptualizing rhythm is great for every person. No, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody has a heartbeat. Everybody can feel rhythm in some sort of way, right? We're not talking about being a professional musician. We're not talking about we're not talking about performing. We're just talking about a human soul interacting with rhythm.
Yeah.
And everybody can do it. And it's amazing how when you start talking about rhythm to almost every single human being, beautiful things can come from that.
That's so powerful. I work with quite a few people I'm learning how to be politically correct, by the way, in my next verbiage, but learning disabled, developmentally disabled. For example, I have a person now I'm working with, he's actually become a very good friend with Fragile X syndrome. Long story about that, but bottom line is playing the bongos and cross the midline of the body patterns. It does stuff in the cross brain patterns along with the rhythmic aspect of things. It actually has a therapeutic effect, reduces anxiety, can help to enhance focus. And it's to me, it's just like I never knew music or rhythm could be so powerful when I was a drummer, and now I'm not a drummer for a living anymore. And
Right.
I'm doing drumming for a different type of thing now. And this is really cool. So what you said is so relevant. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all humans. We all have a heart.
And we
all have a heart, and that is that beating that we have in our chest that can be kind of a unifying force between all people. And especially people who might, and I'm never trying, just apologize right now if I say something politically incorrect or phrase something wrong or use the wrong label. It's never intentional. It's just me not knowing any better. So apologies in advance.
No, and I'm the same way. So I apologize too, because I don't know anything yet.
Yeah. So, it thinks it's, a lot of times the terms that we're using now, they're a moving target, so it's hard to keep up sometimes, we're trying our best, but no offense ever. So people who may be a little developmentally delayed or or having trouble with whatever,
or maybe they're on the spectrum or something,
whatever,
autism,
whatever it is, stuff that I'm completely unqualified to discuss, and I don't want to, because when I teach, I don't teach in those terms. I'm not looking for a label. I'm not looking for where you are on the chart. I don't care. I always do an assessment when somebody comes in. I look at them. I say, that's where we're starting. That's it. That's all I see. I don't know your story. I don't want to know your story. Mm-hmm. I see you as you are right in front of me, and we work from there. And it is amazing. And it's like, I've had, adult students who are like, well, let me tell you my story. I'm like, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I don't want you to tell your story. You've got your story. You know your story. I don't care about your story. I want to know about right now. Let's play. Yeah. Let's make some noise. Let's make some noise right now. And I 100% of the time, I have never had anyone say, but I really need to talk. They're like almost freed. Like, wow, I don't have to say these handcuffs that are holding me back a lot of times.
Oh, man. You just said it, man. Yeah. I thank you for that because, well, I don't want to interrupt.
No. That's it. That's just the way I deal with it when people come in, and I have a lot of people. I've had a bunch of people who've had some sort of condition or another, sort of neurological or whatever. They can't move,
autism, or
whatever. They can't walk. They can't walk without assistance. They have a weak right side. Whatever it is, it's stroke, it's MS, it's whatever it is. I don't know. I don't care. I see you right now. I see you right now, right in front of me. There's our baseline. That's it. And there's no handcuffs. There's nothing to talk about. And from that point, me and you working together, right now, right here. I don't care about anything because we're looking forward.
So I knew that I would love doing this interview, but this just made it like way better because I had this sense that you were like that actually, and you see things like that because I see people as, okay, you're human, so am I.
Yeah.
You have a nervous system and a brain and a limbic system where you have emotions, so do I. Let's get to work.
Yeah. Yeah. What are we talking about?
Yeah, so your midline didn't connect in the brain because of autism or whatever. You're still human. Nervous system, limbic system,
Right.
brain, let's get to work.
Right.
And let's have some fun doing it and then watch what happens.
Yeah,
Tommy, man, I love that. That's great.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. And like I said, I'm completely unqualified, and I will always say that because I've met a lot of people who are qualified who suck at this, and they suck at teaching, and they are the worst, and they don't get anything done, and they're stuck on labels and phrases and saying you are a blank, you are a blank, you have this thing, and it's like, and all that does is it just goes like this. It's just like this.
Yeah, the handcuffs.
And I'm just like, look, and I have the enviable position of picking and choosing who I work with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing I do is when I get with somebody says, well, I have this condition or something like that, the first thing I tell them is I'm completely unqualified to work with you, and that should excite you and probably want to get you over here sooner because I don't care. And all we're going to do is have fun and make some music. And we're gonna make some noise, and
God, I love that.
we're not gonna talk about all that other. You can do that with other people, and I know it's important. I know all that knowledge is important, but for what I do, the blah blah gets in the way.
Yeah,
of progress.
God, I love that. You know, and then when I reacted by laughing just a minute ago, just to clarify to anyone watching, I wasn't laughing for any other reason than the way you presented what you said, because I can so relate to that too. I mean. On people all the time that come in and, you know, they're humans. We're humans first.
And we're dealing with rhythm and music. And it's rhythm and music.
So whatever.
Can we all just calm down?
Yeah.
Can we all just calm down? Can we let's get some soda. Let's take a drink. Let's get some like cheese and crackers, and everybody just relax. Like, just relax. You know, everybody just calm down. It's all this pressure about bam, 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 and, you know, and motivational speaking. I'm going to motivate you. It's like, my God, man. You know, you motivate people so much more by showing them, by enabling them to quietly sprout, bloom, and grow, and they discover their own progress without you having to say, you're better, you just got better.
Yeah.
When you're in a room and you're working one-on-one with somebody, and especially if you're just playing like drums or rhythm, and they suck at something, they just suck, they could not do it, all right? And then you just like, and one of my gifts is finding the back way into somebody where they don't even know I'm doing it.
Sure.
Right? And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, did this, did that. May take 20 minutes, whatever it is, but all of a sudden, it's like when a kid starts pedaling a bike by himself and you let go. And all of a sudden, they're like,
yeah.
They discover it on their own. They're doing it on their own. You want to motivate somebody? Teach like that.
Yeah. You know what, man, I love it. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I like to learn every day. I'm always looking for opportunities to learn, especially the stuff I didn't know. That I never thought of. Let them go. That's great.
Let them go. Yeah, you know what? And they'll fall, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's.
You're there to help them when they fall.
Yeah,
it'll be okay. It's like falling is a part of riding. It's just it's. There's no way we can't bubble wrap students.
Yeah,
can't do it. You know,
God, I love that.
Yeah, you gotta let them go.
I knew I was going to have fun on this, but this is more fun than I ever could have anticipated. So I have to show people this if they can see it. You must follow Tommy on Instagram.
Oh yeah, there it is. Look at that. With night mode too, looking sharp with the dark mode there, buddy. Yeah.
I went dark about 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago after the
Nice.
update.
Yeah. I got mine goes dark. I think around like 8 o'clock. It switches over to dark mode on its
Yeah, I'm
own.
always dark, man. I'm like, let's go dark all the time.
It's
It's like
cool.
the new Terminator
Exactly.
movie, Dark Fate. Got to see that. So,
Yeah.
anyways, so let me ask you this: what you're talking about? Just oh my God, you're in San Francisco area, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm probably going to teach there early next year, and when I do, I'm going to look you up. Maybe we can hang out and buy you a couple beers, but and dinner or whatever.
Sure.
But because it'd be great to hang out. But I have another question. You've had in my opinion, and in the eyes or my eyes, the eyes of many others, you've had a successful career. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah,
What
I think so.
I'm
Yeah,
curious to
I think
know
that works.
is to.
You could say that. Yeah.
I'm curious to know. For those who are sometimes plagued by the subject of success, how do you view success? How do you measure that in
Plagued
your
by,
eyes? What is success to
let's
you?
back up 1 second. Back up. Plagued by the subject of success. What on earth does that mean? What does
Oh,
that mean?
those who they don't believe they're worthy and they can't do anything and they're not worth being successful.
Plagued by the subject of success.
Yes.
And they don't think so. They think that they're not worthy of success.
Yet they think they're good enough that they should be, but they're not worthy of it. Do you understand? I was actually one of those people for a long time.
They don't
Where I
think that.
thought I'm good enough. I know I
do
can do
they? Are
this.
these people who sabotage their own success?
100%.
I see. Okay, very
So I
good.
know you know where I'm going, probably.
Yeah. I want to
Yeah.
make sure. Like that's why I always like to make sure I get it. Yeah. So okay, very good.
You're good.
All right, now I'm with you. Plagued by those. I got it.
100%. So how would you work with somebody like that if you had just some words of wisdom to share, and let's say or how do you view success? How do you measure it? What does it mean to you?
Well, that's a very good question.
And they're two different things too. But
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it is, if they are. I'm a firm believer of macro umbrellas. Big umbrellas that
sure,
just have little sub things underneath. But you're really talking about one subject. And
I agree.
I've gotten a lot of traction lately as somebody who's, I would never, and please, don't ever call me a life coach. I'm never going to happen, ever going to happen. But I do a lot of mentoring for people who need basically coaching and call it for less or for mentoring. I know that I had great mentors growing up. The reason I'm sitting here talking to you about the things I'm talking to you at hopefully a level of some expertise is because of the mentors I had, not because of anything I did. I kept my mouth shut, my ears open, and I listened. And I got all this knowledge, and I am basically, and I think if people were just a little bit more humble, a lot more people who were, sort of famous would say this. I am nothing but a mixture of the mentors who made me who I am. I am that blend of all those great mentors, and I had great ones. I had really great ones, and I just kept my eyes and ears open and my mouth shut. That's the secret to my success. All right. Now I'm talking.
Man.
Now people are like, "Oh, my God, you're a guy who has your mouth shut." Yeah, I did have my mouth shut when I didn't know anything. That's when I had my mouth shut. Try it sometime. It works wonders. Just don't talk. That's what my whole thing on social media is. I got a 17-year-old punk coming into my room telling me about the music business. You are gone. There is no listen, you somehow along the way, that 17-year-old kid was empowered to think that that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's not. That's not why I run a page. So if that's one of the places I teach decorum is like I run my page my way. Anyway, but we're getting off the subject, which is of the success. So
that is all very relevant because it's so true about.
Just keep your mouth shut and your ears open. And
that's my new motto, by the way. I'm going to steal it and credit you on that. Mouth shut, ears open. Tommy Igoe.
I'm telling you, man, mouth shut. Listen, the sound of learning is silence.
Whoa.
That that's mine. You can make that. You can take that. And
I'm
put my
doing
name
it,
under it 'cause I
man.
made
I'm
that
gonna
one
go
up.
back and
But
do this.
the sound of learning is silence.
Tagging you tonight on that, brother. Seriously.
And if you just like, listen, if you want to really learn, you have to turn your ego off. And it's the first thing is this. That's the first thing you need to shut. And actually, because that's where it all goes wrong, right here. Yeah. This is where it goes wrong. So don't. There is power in silence. The most power is in silence. The little thing about, and talk to any musician, the greatest musicians in the world, and they will tell you that it's the silence between the notes that makes us hard.
Can I interject for 1 second?
Absolutely, go ahead.
So way back, this is like 1970. Do you remember Weather Report 830? That album came out.
Oh yeah, sure. Are you kidding? Yeah.
So it's a double vinyl before CDs, and Peter and I were in communication. So I called Peter up. I'm like, I think he was, I don't know where he was, LA probably. I'm like, dude, man, and I'm like a junior in high school at the time or whatever. I love it. Blah 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 blah. I especially love this one song. I can't remember the name of it right now. So because there's such a long pause between so many things, and he says, "Is the silence between the notes? Isn't that powerful and golden and so relevant?" He might not have used the word relevant because you said it early on today, and now I'm going to use that word all day. But I love that word, and that exactly, including talking. We've talked about this too. Actually, I was at Dave Weckles' house where back in February we were talking with an interview much like this, talking about the power of zip it.
Go talk.
The power of zip it.
Yeah.
Love it, Tommy. Thank you. I love that, man. That is super powerful. I love the way you put it. Was like the best anyone could have ever put it, man.
I get lucky once in a while, but the yeah. So just to put a bow around this, just a little bit more. It was like you were talking about success, and I'm working with people who sabotage their own success, and I think that. For most of the people that I've talked to, a lot of people have had that, especially when they were younger. They would do that. And also success would make them almost nervous. Like success would make them like antsy, like it's going really well. Holy crap. They're looking over their shoulder, they're paranoid.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah. And all that stuff. So when I look at people, so I have people who are, who can kind of fit in that under that macro umbrella, but the other one is stage fright, which is the same kind of thing, which is again, it's a confidence issue. So people who sabotage, it's having the confidence to believe that you actually do deserve, that you've put the work in, and that you are worth it. And there's so many ways that you can actually get a student to buy into that. And a lot of it is just sometimes. Actually, as simple as saying it out loud. Saying it out loud. I deserve this.
Yeah. Like an affirmation, right?
Yeah. I deserve this. You know what? I have put the work in, and I deserve what's happening right now.
Exactly.
And say it out loud. And then, a lot of things, and I do believe, I don't believe in all the mystic, stuff like the promise, and like if you think it comes true, I don't believe in any of that. But I do believe that a lot of times if you put it into the universe by actually verbalizing it, you're putting and you say something, not just that you want to have happen, but you back up by the data. I have practiced thousands of hours, tens of thousands of hours. I deserve what's happening to me. Mm-hmm. And that's where a guy like me, as being a mentor, can actually really, really be worth it. Worth the expense, worth the time, worth the challenge, worth the frustration, all that stuff, because I can actually get inside your mind and validate you too.
Man, that's awesome.
There you go. That's what I do.
I love that. Do you have a couple more minutes, like 5 more minutes?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do. It's 3:06. Yes, I got 5 more minutes.
So in 5 minutes, can you talk to me, please, about sympathetic listening and absolute authenticity? Real quick, if you were to summarize those.
Sympathetic listening. Sympathetic listening. I think we were talking.
We kind of touched on that, but
that was in reference. I think that might have been in reference to actually musicians on stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
sympathetic, right? So sympathetic listening from a drummer's point of view. So, and I think if I remember correctly, the last time I used that phrase, or one of the times I used that phrase, was when we were actually, I was working with a kid in a big band who had never played with wind instruments before.
Okay.
And the power of the drum set can just run roughshod over musicians who have to actually blow into their instruments.
Yeah, true.
We can just keep. We don't have to breathe. We're louder. We can just keep going. We can be abusive, obnoxious, and horrible. We can breathe. We are the worst. Drummers are the worst or the best.
Yeah,
depending on who's wielding the weapon. We are the worst or the best.
Oh my God, yeah, that's so funny.
Band. So if you're playing now, not bass, I mean, it goes for any instrument. The drums, because I play piano, I've taken 20 years of piano lessons.
Yeah, right.
So I could be sympathetic as a drummer. So I want to understand. So when you talk about sympathetic listening, you're understanding not just the notes that your fellow musician is playing, but you understand his plight. You understand his universe. The challenges that go into somebody playing a saxophone, and he's playing in a loud environment, and he's out and he can't hear himself. And there are things you can do to actually make that person's life better and help control the environment and be sympathetic to make a joint musical statement rise. So that's what the power of being a drummer is that more than any other instrument, you can actually control that overall bombastic it's either joyful or it's murderous. It's one of the two. So,
yeah, but that is so.
As a drummer, right? As a drummer, sympathetic listening, like being sympathetic, like looking around, like literally looking around, seeing who you're playing with. What are they going through? What are they doing? What do they need? That's sympathetic listening.
So maybe it's not the Tommy Igoe show, you know what I mean, or the Carl Sterling show, right? It's us.
It may not be all about us. I know.
Or it could be the Tommy Igoe show,
it's hard to imagine that it's not all about us. But it may not be all about us.
Well, it's funny. Like Peter's another one who like.
He's a great sympathetic listener. He's one of the best.
I couldn't even believe it when he came into the studio. So I'm going off for a minute. This is about you and not him or me, but I'm just saying because this kind of puts an exclamation point on what you're saying, and I said that wrong. Exclamation point. He came into the studio, man. Everything was so simple. I have video of him tracking the drums alone, but when you listen to the final mix, it's like, how could he have heard all of that in an environment where he was sympathetically listening without anybody else there? I mean, there was only like Scott Kinsey and Jimmy laid down tracks first, and it's like, whoa. I mean, but yeah, that makes you, Tommy, the pros pro, and Peter the pros pro. I mean, it's just. I love that.
I think that's there's a reason why you look at Peter's career. There's a reason why he's done what he's done, and he's done it so well.
But you too. I mean, because you're doing that, and you're playing. I think the way I always describe it when I describe it playing for the song or the situation or the audience or the environment, because it ain't the Carl Sterling show. I can tell you that. Not once when I played wasn't my show. It was somebody else's. So I try to do our job.
Right. It's the drums. I only lead bands now. When I turned 40, I made a promise to myself because I know what my gifts were. I was like, I'm not working as a sideman anymore.
Good for you.
I'm putting all my chips in the leader basket. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm 100% committed.
Good.
But it doesn't matter if you're leading as a drummer. It doesn't matter if you're leading or as a sideman. You still, even as a leader, you have to even be more sympathetic. Because you have to assemble this great group of musicians together, and you have to allow them to shine.
Yeah.
Because who's going to come? You're going to get nothing but crappy musicians playing with you if you provide an experience where people aren't musically enjoying themselves.
Well, look at your dad. Look at Buddy. Look at Gene Krupa. They did that.
Yeah, they
They
did.
provided the environment where people could shine.
Yeah,
Totally.
I mean, I grew up in an environment of sympathetic listening.
Yeah.
My dad was, he didn't call it that. I call it that, but he called it just being sensitive. My dad was like, he says, you got to be sensitive. You got to be
Yeah.
sensitive,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, the word sensitive is just been kind of like taken and used more for like, for your own personal feelings.
Right.
And I call it sympathetic listening, because
I like
that's
that.
really what it is. It's a sympathetic listening is not a trait like being sensitive.
Yeah.
Sympathetic listening is an action that you take, that you do, that you have to actually do. It's an action. I am sympathetic listening to you because I am doing it intentionally, not because I am, but because I know it's what must happen.
You're trying to make a statement with them, right? And
it's an action.
Even more, you're right. So you take an action to make a statement with them, which leads to even further success, if you will.
Yeah.
You're delivering a more complete message that way. How about the last thing? Last thing before we go.
Okay.
Absolute authenticity. Talk to me.
Well,
which you kind of already did, because you're kind of doing that. But I know there's more you can say on this. I know you can say a lot more.
Absolute authenticity. It's
you're being you. Right?
Yeah,
trying to be somebody else.
That's so cliche.
I know it is.
You think.
So I have to apologize for that one, but
right when you talk about absolute authenticity, it depends on where you are in your life. Because when you're a student or your kid, there's a different kind of authentic self that you're going to have than when you're older with kids and a house and a wife and all the different things that life hits you with.
Sure.
So me at this stage of my life is a completely different. I have so much more to bring to the table in terms of being authentic than I did when I was 25 years old.
Yeah.
I have a life story behind me now with the scars to prove it, and me coming in. So absolute authenticity. So for me, it's, for me, I look at the environment that I'm seeing everybody playing in, and now the environment is social media. If you're looking, everybody's living on their phones. And almost everybody's got an Instagram. Everybody's got Facebook. Whatever it is. The kids are on Snap and TikTok and all that stuff. All this, and it just never ends. And when I got on, there has been a change in social media. So I'll end on this note. Okay, there has been a change on social media over the last 3 years. I wonder why, but it's been definitely over the last 3 years where we have seen a behavior shift of there is a lot less. There's a lot less civil discourse. There's a lot less manners. There is a lot just arrogant bullshit that you just see. I'm sorry if I cursed.
Yeah, it's fine.
There's just a lot more picking fights, and also this this thing that has been this sickness that's always been there, but now it's becoming even worse, of these self-appointed experts coming in and spewing vomit everywhere they can.
Yeah.
And for a guy like me, who's really just trying to, who's educating and trying to keep it very simple, keep messages very simple, that I've learned through decades of doing this. And now I'm finding it much more of a challenge to keep messages on point without them getting pulled away. And so for me, on my pages and my posts, the one thing I did not see anybody doing was making a stand.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anybody. I still don't. I was like saying, like, this is my page. These are my posts, and you will come in with respect, or you're gone.
Yeah.
The attitude of like, well, this is my First Amendment rights. Actually, no, you have no First Amendment rights. None on my page or my post. That's why I have a delete and ban button. But you have full First Amendment rights. You have full First Amendment rights on your page and on your post. So you can take anything I say and just destroy me afterwards. But I consider my pages and my posts my digital home. They're just like my home. I create content. I'm a content creator. That's what I do. And I expect when people to come in to act like they're coming into my home? Would you just like come in? Would you just go into somebody's home, drop your pants, and just take a dump on the floor?
Yeah,
You would
right. I
never
mean,
do
seriously.
that. Never.
Yeah.
You would never do that.
No.
And then, but because people hide behind fake screen names, which makes me absolutely nuts, and private accounts, there's no accountability.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be talking to mostly to artists or artist aspirational people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that you can make any art worth anything if you're leading a dual life of crap and then trying to actually play music. I think you need to lead a life that is completely connected. And we are always talking about class, honor, and doing the right thing, especially online.
Yeah. It's there forever too, right? That's what they say. I mean,
Internet is
really.
written ink. The internet is written ink.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love that. I mean,
so authenticity on my absolute authenticity. When you look at my pages, I'm walking the walk on those pages and just seeing what happens. And it was very interesting. I was just telling somebody, like, I did the 10-week social experiment where I was gathering all this data and engaging trolls and doing all this stuff. And because I needed to understand, I had to understand what I was dealing with. I didn't want to read a book about it. I wanted to get into the mosh pit and see what's happening. I ran a 10-week experiment. I came out with all this different data. I banned 1,000 people and I gained 10,000 more.
Whoa.
So that's what absolute authenticity will do for you. If you're not acting and you're not trying, but you are authentic, you actually are. You're standing up for something that you believe in, either artistically or honor, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. If it's something that you believe in, the authenticity attracts. It does. It's like a magnet. It brings people in. You know, it will repel the people that you don't want anyway.
Yeah, right. It'll be the people who would be thinking like-minded, right? So they come in.
Absolutely, 100%.
So,
yeah,
folks, you gotta follow Tommy Igoe on Instagram. I know the focus isn't too good here, but Tommy Igoe on.
That's it. That's the beautiful thing about having an unusual last name, because there are too many of me. So it's just,
exactly.
If you can spell Igoe, you're going to probably find me.
Yeah, TOMMYIGOE.
That's it.
So listen, man, first of all, I want to say thank you so much. If you can hang with me after I stop the recording for like less than 1 minute, just want to talk about a couple things. But your perspective on things, your posts have always been very, not just inspiring, but they change how I have seen things. Like when I love it when I'm able to open up my world and see things from a different perspective. Whether I like the perspective or not is irrelevant. I'll still see it. Right? And I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for that. That's everybody thinks that I have to agree. No, you don't have to agree. You don't. You just need to learn. There's other stuff out there. And the fact that you don't agree with it doesn't mean you didn't learn something.
Well, it just so happens that with your things I agree, but there are people who I follow once in a while who once in a while post something. I'm like, what? No. But, I will gain an insight into their thinking. And there are times, though, where I'm converted over to at least altering my thinking to a degree, which helps me to broaden my scope. And that's really important, whatever it is in life, whether it's music or politics or whatever. But bottom line is follow Tommy.
Thanks,
Tommy Igoe.
Thank you very much. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
No, this is great, man. So I appreciate this more than you can imagine.
Oh, thanks.
So and your website is tommyigoe.com, correct? So I'm going to put a link on here. Now the audio of this goes on to SoundCloud and iTunes. So those of you listening is TOMMYIGOE.com. Be sure to check out his site and learn more about Tommy. It'll open your world. I'm sure it certainly opened up my world of thinking. Hang with me for a minute afterwards, Tommy. There is one question. I always ask at the end, and I usually tell you I will, but I forgot. Do you have any takeaway message? A takeaway message
for your audience?
Yes.
Behave yourselves online and be the example.
Ah, see, I knew. See, because you're an
Yeah,
improviser. I got that right away when we started up today. You're an improviser.
yeah.
That
Behave
was
yourselves
simple.
online and be the example. That's all. That's all we can do. Be the example.
I can I tell you what Peter said when I asked him that?
Yeah, what do you say?
He said, "Hmm, never pet a burning dog."
Yeah,
That
I
comes
know
from
exactly.
Steve Gadd. You know Steve Gadd, right?
Yeah,
So Steve, that was
yeah,
a Steve Gadd quote, and like we were laughing
yeah.
hysterically. It's so funny. But
I do.
anyways,
Don't drive slow in the left lane. There you go. That's it.
hey, that's a pet peeve of mine too. Now the passing lane lately has been the right lane. Drives me crazy. What's going on
Yeah,
with people?
I can't get started. You
Where
can't.
you guys, me neither. So, anyways, TommyIgoe.com. I'll put a link on the screen. And Tommy, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate your time and your wisdom and your information, everything.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much.
And thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoy this. I know I sure did. It opened my brain to thinking about things in a different way, and that's what it's all about in my world. So, thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.